Good evening. My name is Levinjai, and this is The Nation Today. Thank you for joining me on my show tonight. President Barrow has sworn in his new cabinet there. The country's new vice president, that is Badara Diouf, is urging members or cabinet ministers there to deliver. Gambia-Senegal launch cross-border anti-malaria campaign. We have a report for you on that also. But also 27 youth complete craft activity training. Muslim High receives science equipment from badge of 1995. You also have UTG students reacting to the appointment of top scholar Professor Per Gomez as the country's new higher education minister. Tonight I'll be speaking to Sehu Mbalo. He's the deputy youth advisor to President Adam Barrow. Before all of that, so tonight I'll be speaking on the president's cabinet swearing in there. On Tuesday, the president has finally sworn in his cabinet. The president picked a new team last week. His picks have been widely applauded by citizens. Yesterday, that is on Tuesday there, a total of 20 people took oaths to stay true to the rudiments of their office there. The president in his speech particularly insisted on the issue of performance and delivery, and I think that is very, very important. Expectations are high from Gambians there for this new crop of leaders, new crop of ministers to deliver. Elsewhere, the president also announced a zero-tolerance stance on corruption. This is something that, Gambians have been talking about, the issue of corruption in the country, and it would appear that the president is quite alive to the issue of corruption in the country, and he is ready and willing to fight the toga there, something that a lot of citizens have also welcomed. There is a lot that the Gambian people are expecting from these men and women. They must deliver. That will be it for my take tonight. Let's take a short break and we'll enter into the show proper. Welcome back. So the president has sworn in his new cabinet yesterday. That was on Tuesday there at the State House, where Vice President Badara Diouf spoke, challenging his colleagues, cabinet colleagues, to deliver. More in this report by Mariam Dem, who was at the State House.
Following his landslide victory in the December 4th presidential election in 2021, President Adam Barrow last week, Wednesday, finally reshuffled his cabinet. On Tuesday morning, the newly appointed cabinet, including the Vice President and Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, took their oath of office, allegiance and secrecy in a ceremony held at the State House in Banjul.
Professor Per Gomez, having been appointed as Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology of the Republic of the Gambia, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of the Gambia. So help me God.
Speaking on behalf of the new cabinet, Vice President Badara Diouf thanks the new ministers to work as a team to deliver as expected by Gambians, adding that they cannot afford to fail.
Let us work as a team, move the development agenda of this country to fulfill the expectations of the person who appointed us to this position. And by extension, to fulfill the expectations of the Gambian people. They expect us to deliver. The recent elections is a watershed in Gambian history. We cannot fail. We cannot afford to fail.
VP Diouf said it is a privilege to be appointed to the cabinet, but the position is not driven by it. Therefore, the work should be driven by performance and development. He also urged the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs and Trade to consult with partners to put up a strategy to cope the recent price hike on basic commodities. Speaking during the ceremony, President Barrow assured the cabinet of his full support, but was quick to announce a zero-tolerance position on corruption.
I assure the incoming cabinet of my support. But we must take a zero-tolerance stance on corruption. We are responsible for the state resources in our custody and should not be found wanted. Strict measures will be taken to implement the anti-corruption law. Therefore, it is best we work towards making the Gambia a model country for public service delivery. I encourage you to work in harmony with with sincerity and wisdom, while promoting peace, stability, and respect for the rule of law.
Maria Madam reporting for Star TV News.
Now, the Minister of Health, in collaboration with its Senegalese counterparts, on Sunday launched a cross-border anti-malaria campaign program to eliminate the deadly disease in both countries. Maria Madam again.
Malaria is a life-threatening disease caused by the parasites transmitted to people through the bites of infected female Anopheles mosquitoes. The cross-border anti-campaign malaria is aimed at combating malaria in the Senegambia region with the distribution of 2 million long-lasting bed nets in the Gambia and 14 million in Senegal. According to the latest World Malaria Report, there were 241 million cases of malaria in 2020 compared to 227 million cases in 2019. The estimated number of malaria deaths stood at 627,000 in 2020, an increase of 69,000 deaths over the previous year. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmadulamin Samate, said the campaign is part of the two governments' efforts to eliminate malaria in the Senegambia region by 2030. Despite the high rate of malaria infection and mortality in Africa, the Gambia has made a notable achievement in the fight against the deadly disease, he added.
We are now embarking on a new era in the fight against malaria, one that will ultimately see malaria eliminated in this region. The experience of synchronizing this campaign has shown that in addition to setting a common goal and a political will for malaria elimination by our two governments, effective collaboration across multilateral and bilateral donors is important to optimize the financial and technical resources. Moving towards the final chapter in the malaria fight will be the most challenging. We must build on the experience of effective collaboration amongst partners and working across borders.
Dr. Samate and the Senegalese Health Minister Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr urged the residents of both countries to use the bed nets properly to protect themselves and their children from having malaria. The WHO country representative in the Gambia, Desta Tirini, noted that there is a need to invest more in resources to secure a robust malaria surveillance system in both countries. The usage of these long-lasting nets, Dr. Tirini said, will reduce the rate of malaria, morbidity and mortality. He also commended the two countries for the joint efforts and achievements they have registered over the years in the fight against malaria.
Synchronizing the distribution of long-lasting nets in the border areas between Senegal and the Gambia has potential to further enhance the effectiveness of this strategy.
Meanwhile, WHO has set achievable global targets in reducing malaria case incidence, mortality rates by at least 90% and eliminating malaria in at least 35 countries by 2030. Maria Madam reporting for Star TV News.
Now, in its drive to support the enhancement of craft in the Gambia, the Youth Empowerment Project and the International Trade Center, in collaboration with the UNDP, have completed the training of over 27 youths across the country in trades such as tie and dye and painting. More in this report.
The training was funded by the UNDP and ITC through the project Building Resilience for Vulnerable Communities. Ngone Pane, the ITC program officer for tourism and creative industries, said the objective of the project is to support and empower youths to engage in crafts as a means of income generation.
We have worked to support the craft sector for a very long time now, I would say since the inception of the YAP project. And over the years, we have learned to realize the potential that craft have for the country, how it can support the advancement and the development of the tourism sector, how it can enhance it better. For when tourists come here, when visitors come here, they are able to spend more. How people within the Gambia are able to make it as a source of income generation and livelihood.
Ms. Pane added that they have learned over the years that there are capacity gaps within the craft sector.
There's a lot of gaps that needs to be filled in order for the local Gambians to be able to use tie-dye that is made from the Gambia. We are still seeing people going to Senegal, going to Mali, Burkina Faso to buy the tie-dye product. Why can't we make it here? Why can't it be produced here and be sold here and be consumed here so that our fellow Gambians are able to make a form of living from this product? The same applies to painting. A lot of young Gambians are embracing painting. It tells a message. It sends a message. It gives us a way of communicating, but also projecting the image of the Gambia.
Mr. Senghor C., the tie and dye trainer from Senegal, encouraged the trainees to make more efforts in developing themselves in the field of craft, as it is our culture and it needs to be promoted. On behalf of the trainees, Senabu Marang thanked the sponsors, organizers and the trainers for their patience and encouragement during the 4 days training. She assured them that the training received will go a long way for them and their communities to engage in income generation activities.
What we've learned here, we are not only going to stop here, but we will be able to go back to our communities and deliver what we've learned. We will also be able to use it as income generating activities for ourselves and also our communities. I once again thank Mr. Mansour, our able trainer, who has tirelessly been working with us, giving us all the knowledge that he has, just for us to make sure that we are comfortable. I'm going to assure to our trainers and our organizers that what they spend in this program, it's not going to be a waste. We are going to make sure that we continue the trend at a higher height. Thank you so much for the organizers. Thank you so much for the organizers for organizing this program. We are very grateful. It is very, very wonderful. The knowledge is very, very amazing.
Certificates were also presented to the trainees. For Star TV News, I am Awasani.
Now, ex-students of Muslim High School have donated science lab equipment to their former school there. The equipment from the 1995 class cost over $100,000, as Binta Koli reports.
The donated items includes boiling tube, text tube holders, funnel, beaker, optical pins, text tube rank, and a host of other scientific tools. Speaking at the presentation ceremony, head of science department at Muslim High School, Adegunjuti Adegui, thanked the ex-science students of 1995 batch as this is the first of its kind. He added that the item will be useful in the upcoming grade 12 examination as they want to be dependent on other schools for lab apparatus.
Or going around looking for materials when the work starts. Besides that, you know that these materials will go a very long way to make teaching of sciences. When I mean sciences, I mean physics, chemistry, biology, etc. Very easy. And it will make it very effective. Like you know, if you teach science subjects without the right tools, it's like a farmer who goes to the farm without cutlass. You are not going to do anything. You may just be getting the theory, but you will not know the practical. And practical is the science.
Speaking on behalf of the 1995 batch, Pamodu Sonko, who is now a doctor, said they decided to come to the aid of the school because they are products of the school and deem it necessary to help. He gave details for their intervention.
And the reason we are here today is not about 100,000 or over 100,000 that we have donated in items, apparatus for the school, but we remember the words of Dr. Samba. In fact, this Dr. Samba, who was a pioneer, like all of you guys said, we remembered. He used to talk about helping, giving back to the school. And so we remember those things. So we also want you guys, you students, we were just like you 27 years ago. You guys will become doctors, lawyers, accountants, presidents, judges, everything. So we are here to also encourage you guys. It could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, 30 years, but you can come back and contribute to the school that gave you guys a lot.
President of the association, Waka Masmbai, said the school have indeed produced many people that are doing many impactful things in society. Mbai advised the students to be serious with their studies.
You are the science students. You are going to be our doctors, our engineers, our architects, our electrical engineers. This is what we're expecting from all of you. So work hard. Work hard, and by next year, inshallah Rabbi, we as grandparents will be sitting with our sons and daughters and our and our grandchildren, and that is going to be you.
Exactly.
Speaking on behalf of the students, Momodu Ujalo, who is their head boy, thanked the donors and hope for more to come. For Star TV News, I am Binta Kuli.
Now, students of the UTG have been reacting to the appointment of one of their scholars, one of their professors there, Professor Per Gomez. He's been appointed the Higher Education Minister by President Adama Barrow, and he has taken his oath to officially step into that role, while Modu El Baji of the Star TV was at the UTG to check with the students.
The appointment of Professor Per Gomez has been widely celebrated in the country's tertiary institution due to his dedication to duty and the level of professionalism he displayed during his days as a lecturer. However, students are in high anticipation that Professor Gomez's appointment as Higher Education Minister will shift the narratives of the country's tertiary education and work towards its standardization. A student of the University of the Gambia, Demba Waiba, called for a holistic approach in addressing the challenges the higher education sector faces, adding that Professor Gomez cannot do it all alone.
Yeah, Mr. Gomez has the stuff, he has the ambition, Mr. Gomez is somebody who loves education. So I believe if the government is willing, because I don't believe an individual can solve the UTG's problem, because the UTG's problem is not in fact exclusive. It's a general problem. The Gambia has a general educational problem. So Mr. Gomez alone will not be able to solve it. So it has to be, holistic. It has to be a holistic, approach towards the education system. Yeah.
The Secretary General of the School of Journalism Students Union, Aliu Jabi, described Gomez's appointment as one of the best made by the government of the Gambia. Jabi expressed optimism that the new higher education minister will deliver as expected.
Professor Gomez, he started as the acting vice chancellor of the University of the Gambia before the appointment of Professor Herbert Robinson. And when Professor Herbert came in, he was the Professor Gomez turned to be the deputy vice chancellor. And he has been really good and proactive about things that go on in the university. So I guess about this appointment, yes, I think this is so far one of the best appointments done by the president, because it's a really good choice from this perspective of the student, and I think for the whole country, I would say, because Professor is someone that has a proper experience in the field of education. He has been in the university before, he has been a teacher before, and I think the higher education needs someone that has this experience to take us forward, take the education of the country forward.
Sir Omar Jallo is a fourth-year law student. He called for the formulation of policies that will propel the development of the country's tertiary education.
I believe that appointment is one of the best appointments so far in the history of the Gambia. Whoever knows Mr. Gomez knows that he is a man of principles, a man of high quality. I mean, he only requires quality of education. I mean, that's what he requires, even the students of the University of the Gambia. He is somebody that I really admire a lot, and I am really hoping and I wish that the new office he's going to hold is going to be one of the best offices in the history of the Gambia, because he has the human resources in himself. He has everything what it takes to man up that office. When he came to the university, we have seen so many changes. And I believe if he takes the same initiative to the Minister of Higher Education, it's going to be something brilliant for this beautiful generation coming after.
For the 10 years he served as the Dean of the School of Arts and Science, Professor Gomez was awarded 3 consecutive times the Dean of the Year awards, until his recent appointment as Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology of the Gambia. Professor Per Gomez served as the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic at the University of the Gambia. Per Gomez is a professor of comparative lecture, and he once served as the Acting Vice Chancellor of the University of the Gambia. For Star TV, I am Modu El Baji.
Thank you for joining me. So tonight on my show, I will be speaking to Honorable Sehum Balo. He's the Deputy Youth Advisor to President Adama Barrow. He will be my guest tonight. Honorable, thank you for coming on my show tonight. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable, you continue to advise the President. You are the Deputy Youth Advisor. The President has been handed I mean, thank you very much, Honorable. I think your microphone was inaudible there. Thank you for joining me on the show tonight. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
You're welcome, and also on the same token, I thank you for inviting me to the program.
So you continue to advise the president. You are the deputy youth advisor. The president has been handed a second mandate. What is the priority for the president?
Well, Mr. Njai, there are so many things right now that the president has for this country. First of all, I would like to congratulate once again, the Gambian people for the way and manner they conducted themselves through the presidential elections up to which happened on the 4th of December 2021, and also with the National Assembly election, which we have just completed on the 9th of April 2022. They all went successfully, they all went peacefully, that is with the help of the Gambian people. It demonstrates that the Gambian people are out to promote democracy, rule of law, and the human rights. They want to work with the president, whose overall aim and objective is to restore genuine democracy in this country. Now, coming back to a question, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, I mean, we have seen so far the composition of his cabinet. He has tapped somebody who is from the education sector, Mr. Badara Diouf, who is an educationist, who cares about the youth, who has been in the educational field for so many years. Therefore, one should not have any doubt that now the youth's issue and also problems would be addressed.
In terms of that, you brought up the issue of Mr. Badara Diouf. You advised the president. How did the president arrive at the decision to tap him as his deputy?
Well, Mr. Njai, let me tell you that Mr. Badara Diouf has been very supportive to the president. He is the one who wrote our manifesto. The manifesto that we have, manifesto of
the NPP.
Of the NPP. Nobody wrote it but Badara Diouf. He has been very supportive to us, and also to the party, and also to the nation throughout. So he is a member of he is very supportive to the party. He doesn't go out in meeting. I don't think I cannot remember seeing him in political rallies talking, but then morally, he has been very supportive to His Excellency President Adama Barrow, both in terms of moral support, ideas, knowledge, and other things, logistics. He has been very supportive. So that's why it was very easy for His Excellency President Adama Barrow to call him, to this position, because he knows also the interest that he has for the youth of this country.
What do you make of the timing of Mr. Diouf's appointment, but also the rest of the cabinet? The president was voted in December. You had this. There was some talk, really, some criticism level at the president that he should have formed his cabinet right there, but he waited until after the parliamentary election.
Well, there was no problem in forming a cabinet with the president. The reason why he did it was because he said, you know what, we have cycle of elections, we have presidential election and National Assembly elections. Why can't I just wait until we finish these two cycles? That is, after the presidential election, we are going to, in 3 months' time, we are going to, in the 4th one, we are going for National Assembly. Yes. I am just going to do this thing once and for all, and then keep everything moving. That's what happened. There was no problem. That's why he said, okay, the cabinet that I had from 2017 up to now, I'm going to maintain it as a caretaker government until after the completion of the National Assembly election. That's all. There was no problem.
So let me ask you, because the president won the presidential election comprehensively. Then came the parliamentary election. You fielded at least 40 candidates, the National People's Party. You were able to get only 18. I know I have spoken to a number of NPP officials who gave their view on what went wrong In your opinion or in your view, what do you think went wrong that made NPP to lose ground and get only 18 out of 40?
Well, I mean, I think it would be, I don't think whether it would be fair even to say we lost ground. No. I mean, what happened is, if you look at the elections results in 2016 and also the National Assembly elections that happened in 2017, and now what happened, you will find out that we have not lost anything. Coming into 2016 elections and 2017 National Assembly elections, we all know UDP got 31 seats, if I am right. And also, we know APRC had 5, the NRP had 5, also we know the GDC had 5. But looking at the results today, that's democracy. There was no NPP at that time, but today NPP is going with 18 National Assembly members. So we have not lost. It's democracy. Although the president won over Melmini for 400,000 votes, but with the National Assembly election, let us not forget, Mr. Njai, this thing we are dealing with the communities, and the people who are contesting now, they are not looking at President Adama Barrow to vote for the candidate. No, they're looking at somebody who is our son, our sons, our daughters who are contesting in our own localities. Let's look at who cares for us, who can represent us adequately. This is why we have these results. Still now, those communities are 100% for the president. But then they are saying, listen, nobody can impose a candidate to us. The candidate that we want to represent us, the person that we want to represent us in our locality, in our constituency district, must be somebody who cares about our problem, who will go and talk about our problem at the National Assembly. Now the president, yes, we have elected President Adama Barrow. He cares for the whole nation. But here we want a messenger in our community, in our district, who will go to the National Assembly and talk about our constraints, our problems. This is where the problems. Let people not mix this thing as president has lost the ground. No.
UDP came a close second. They secured 15 seats. We've seen leader Ousainou Darboe say UDP or declare emphatically that UDP is back.
Well, I think that is unfortunate for the UDP. UDP should have boasted. They would have said that, listen, we are going to get back our 35 seats, 31 seats, or we are going to get at least 20 seats. But getting down to 15 seats and they are boasted, that means UDP is not. They are not confident in coming back to power. If I were UDP, NPP, if we are MPP and we got 31 National Assembly candidates in 2017, now we go down to 15, half.
Parliament for the country.
We are very happy. I mean, we want democracy. His Excellency President Adama Barrow, this is exactly what he wants. We don't want to have a parliament whereby everything is yes, yes, yes. No, we don't want that. He doesn't want that. He wants a competitive parliament, National Assembly house. That's what he was looking for. He doesn't want to control everything. All the 50 seats, MPP, what are they going to discuss? Who is going to criticize? We believe in democracy. That being the case, we believe in the opposition. They would criticize us where it is genuine, and we would accept it. We don't want everybody to say, whenever we say MPP's government say, we are going to do this, or this is the direction we are going, everybody say yes. That's not democracy. That's why we are very happy with this. We are in majority. MPP has taken over. We are in majority, but we know we are going to have people who are critics in the National Assembly, and we will be happy with that. President is happy with this.
Okay, that's also fine. Let's also talk about another issue that has also become, topical. The Gambians have talked about it. Critics, opposition critics, this issue of the 669 million. I know the State House and even the Secretary General, the former Secretary General, has went and clarified how that money was spent from the previous government to the and then later it emerged that some of these monies were paid to per diems, to people, officials, by way of per diem. What is your view of these, those that are criticizing the borough government of corruption and all of that?
I mean, Lamin, I think one way, one would say it's because of ignorance that some of these people are alleging that the government is corrupt, or is the government that lavishes this money. In an other way, also you would say is lack of information, that they don't know, they are not informed properly. If they were informed how this money was spent, if everything, that's why for us MPP, we believe in the media, freedom of information. So that this information, you, the journalists, would educate the people, tell people what is happening. I have the audit report myself. These are monies that are spent illegally on people who are working, who are on government missions outside the country. I'm telling you, if you look at the audit report, even the people who were compensated, Usain Udabo and others, if you look at the audit report, the money they were paid is there. Through this thing. So where is the corruption here? People whose rights were violated, you remember they took government to court. Through this account, this money we're talking about, the money came from there and they were paid. Other people who went to represent the Gambia went to attend conferences and meetings outside this country. Their air ticket, their pardon, we are paid from this. So where is the corruption now? People do, it's just because of ignorance. We believe.
Do you think that the opposition critics are also doing this in to drag the name of the government to the mud?
Well, that's what they were trying to do, but they failed woefully, because now everything has come to light. I mean, Ket Sane has come out, and he is very honest to come out and tell people, listen, this is what happened. I brought the report, part of it, to the Gambian people. But this is how we have realized that, because after bringing it, he brought Demba Ali Jao, who was a minister, his name featured. He brought Mai Fati, who also featured. He was paid from the same amount. Usain Dabo name came out. He was also a minister, if it was featured. And other people, many people. Now, where is it? Now, I think the case has been put to rest. Because they know there is no corruption absolutely in that 66 million.
I mean, in terms of the issue of reconciliation has always been an issue. I mean, we have seen the president nominate Sidinjai and Fabakary Tombong Jatta to the National Assembly, but you have people who are refusing to accept that. What is your take on the issue of reconciliation vis-a-vis how the president is going about ensuring that there is genuine and true reconciliation in the Gambia?
Mr. Jai, Gambian people must accept reconciliation. This country cannot move forward without reconciling the country. Sidinjai, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, yes, they serve the former government, APRC. However, we established the TRRC here, and every Gambian is aware that violators were called upon to explain why they violated the right of other people. Victims were also called upon to testify who violated their right, who beat them up. But until today, there was nobody in this country that mentioned Fabakary Tombong Jatta or Sidinjai beat me up or brought junglers or brought somebody. So therefore, it would be very unfair for somebody who just merely serving his nation as a majority leader or as a National Assembly member to be denied his constitutional right, his civic rights to serve his nation. This is how we see it. if Babakar Tombon Jatta was mentioned in any of these commissions, he would have not been nominated. He would have not been nominated to the National Assembly. Likewise, Sirinjai. But they are Gambians, and now we are calling for reconciliation. We are calling for reconciliation. People whose rights were violated have been, some of them even have been compensated. We have seen in the past journalists who were compensated for their rights being violated, and they received their money. We have seen people, members of political parties whose rights were violated. They are given money. It's all reflected on the audit report, and they keep quiet. Now, why can't we move this country forward? Why should we be witch-hunting people? Because of somebody was in the APRC, somebody served in the APRC. So what? We are not going to do that. We want this country to unite. We want the Gambian people to come together and forge ahead, move this country. That's what we are looking for. We don't know who is going to be the future after President Adama, who is going to come. It's the Gambian people, regardless of which party the person is going to come from. We want the future generation of this country to be united, to believe that we are one. Mandinka, Fula, Jola, Sarahule, Manjago, we are all one. That's what we are trying to preach here. Regardless of you serve a regime, as far as you respect the fundamental rights of Gambians, as far as you serve your nation, you are free to work in the government of the Republic of this country. This is what we believe.
Let me also bring something up. Since you have an advisor to the president, I mean, these past days we have seen people criticize the president, attack the president for his comments he directed at Madi Jobate. I mean, what's your view on that?
Well, I mean, it's not people. It is Madi Jobate himself who built a mountain over the air. Mm-hmm. That's what happened. He is the one who came out and came with a statement saying his life is threatened by the president at the State House.
But is that the case?
That was rubbish. I mean, it's unfortunate that Madi, somebody who claimed to be a human rights activist, would come out and make rubbish allegations against the government or the highest office of this nation. Madi himself knows that his life is not threatened. Madi knows that. He knows the freedom that he is enjoying in this country. Madi was here before President Adama Barrow. Nobody had him. Which activity did he do during the Jammeh's time? 22 years, nobody heard of Madi Jobate protesting. Nobody heard of Madi Jobate talking about restoring democracy in this country. Nobody heard of Madi Jobate talking about human rights in this country. He was here. When people like me, we were fighting, me and Sigul Nyasi, Lamin Wajuara, we were fighting, getting arrested, chased out in this country. Where were Madi Jobate? When even some of us had to run away and stay outside and mobilize ourselves, mobilize Gambian to make sure that democracy and rule of law is restored. Where were Madi Jobate? Madi Jobate is just trying to popularize himself under claiming that he is a human rights activist. His life is threatened. Who threatened him? Madi Jobate is free. He is as free as President Adama Barrow in this country. Nobody will threaten him. Nobody is threatened. Even people who are opposing President Adama Barrow, insulting. We have people who are insulting President Adama Barrow here. Their lives are not threatened. Much more Madi Jobate. Madi Jobate. In fact, it is shameful for Madi Jobate to claim that his life is threatened. Somebody who is representing the Westminster of UK in this country, your life is threatened. The UK government knows that. They know the freedom and democracy that exists in this country. So I think if you want an assistant from the UK government, if you want money, let him ask them for money. But let him not use, the freedom that exists in this country. This is the message I would tell him. And even if I am in UK, the same message I will tell them. If you better find somebody who is going to be honest to himself, who is going to be honest to the world, who is going to be honest to the Gambians to represent you in Gambia, not somebody who is beating about the bush, claiming his life is threatened. Whose life is threatened in this country? We have oppositions who are insulting the president. We have opposition who are criticizing the government. We have journalists who are writing on a daily basis. Nobody is arrested. There is freedom of the press, freedom of the media in this country. There is respect for fundamental human rights of Gambians and non-Gambians in this country today. So Madi Jobate's statement is very irresponsible, and I think he needs to apologize, not to the president, but to the Gambian people for telling a lie to them.
Honorable, the president, let me bring you back to the president's cabinet. I mean, the composition, it would appear that there is a departure from what obtained in 2016. What we saw in 2016 was when the president took power, all the political parties who helped him take State House were all given ministerial positions in his cabinet. But if you look at the current cabinet, that is a very different cabinet setup altogether. I mean, people are expected, the political parties that backed him to State House to at least have positions in his cabinet, but that is not the case. Why this change?
Well, listen, I mean, backing me does not mean that there was no agreement made that if you back me, I'm going to give you a ministerial post. I don't think whether that arrangement was made. I have not seen that, and I have not heard that as the deputy advisor to the president. People, I understand, the people who backed him, the coalition members or the alliance members, what they agree upon, what they said was definitely they will back this president and make sure that he continue on the services that he has started, and also bring about reconciliation, peace and stability in this country. That's why they backed him. But there was no agreement. Nobody claimed, none of them, I have never heard of any of them saying that if I support you, if I back you, I must be a minister or I must be an ambassador. Although if it comes along the way, it's not bad. It's not bad. But there is nothing. And there are so many positions. There are so many positions that are remaining, that are on the way coming. You know, they can serve on those positions. But what the president did, I think, is the right thing. Selecting the people he feels they would definitely would be a team. They would be team players, and they would bring about progress on his government.
Honorable, we've run out of time. Thank you for joining me on the show tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me again, Mr. Njai. This is the first time to come to this show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Right.
So that was Honorable Sehu Mbalo, Deputy Youth Advisor to President Adam Barrow. Until then, goodbye from me.
Bye.